Hi, my name is Attorney Leslie Abrigo. I have a family law practice in Chula Vista, California, which is part of San Diego County. So we're in the deep south. My main office is about 8 miles away from the Mexican border. I am part Native Hawaiian, part Chinese. I'm originally from Hawaii. I have been in California for a while now. I came here for law school many years ago and basically been in practice for about 17 years. I am a certified family law specialist by the State Bar of California, and I have my own practice. I have one attorney and a few staff members that work for me. I come from a place in Hawaii that is very poor. If you are not familiar with the way land management is handled for Native Hawaiians, there's very limited resources. And all of the land is basically administered by the state through an office that is designated for Hawaiian affairs. If you are not of a certain blood quantum of Native Hawaiian ancestry, or your name is not on the top of the list, you're probably not going to qualify for housing. We were not on the list. My mom is a single parent. Um, my parents divorced when I was 2. My dad is Caucasian. We live, um, I'm gonna just say, call it ghetto area of Hawaii, which is probably about, I want to say, an hour, 45 minutes without traffic away from Honolulu. I'm from a place called Waianae. There are some other famous people that you might know that are from there, like Jason Momoa and some other USD fighter people. It's a pretty rough part of town. I live probably in the roughest part. And so, for example, because we lived in low income housing, there would be times where, we would have brawls at the end of our street of like, 50 people. And I'm not kidding, with guns, with bats, with bottles. And we would call the police and they wouldn't come. There were like 4 police officers assigned to our entire town, and they would just wait for the fight to break up. So on one occasion, there was a steel poles. They were in the ground with cement around them, and they were used to kind of like guard the grass and the foliage and the plants in the ground from the sidewalk. Well, these people ripped that entire thing out by its stem so that the entire cement block was used to bash in a window into my house, and we didn't have anything. So what little was taken, as a kid, I was probably maybe about 13 at the time. Like, it is upsetting, obviously. I was not allowed to play outside. I was able to go to private school because I had my mom, like, she worked really hard to give me that opportunity. Plus, my mom worked in downtown Honolulu, so I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day from the time I was about 10, and going with her to work at 5 a.m. So we would sit in 2 hours of traffic so that I could go to private school, and then another 2 hours to come home. So the part of town that we lived in, if there was ever any kind of thing like an hurricane, a tropical storm, a car accident, something like that, like there's no chance that we were getting home that day. There were times where my mom couldn't afford electricity. I was doing homework by flashlight. Um, the neighborhood that I lived in, the electricity would always go out because it was unstable, um, things like that. So if you come from a poor background, you can probably relate. I knew a couple lawyers. Some people in my family had married lawyers, and I was always like impressed. I don't know if that's the right word, but I always thought like lawyers were so smart. How could it be a lawyer? When I was 6 years old, I remember asking my aunt, you know, how do you become the president of the United States? And she said, oh, you have to become a lawyer. So I said, I'm going to become a lawyer. And I told her that. And she laughed at me. And so one of the things about me is that I'm going to put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. So I did it. That's one of the reasons why I became a lawyer. But in terms of obstacles, like I did not come from money. My mom had zero money. I had to borrow like everybody else to go to undergrad. I was lucky enough to get scholarships. And so I was able to also get financial assistance from the Native Hawaiian high school that I attended. So I was able to afford to go to law school that way as well. I mean, I have student loans. So one of the things that you need to know is that when you go to law school and you're in school for a long time and you don't have money and you don't get full scholarships, you're probably going to pay for student loans. I did not know what kind of law I wanted to practice. I thought that, like everybody else, I was going to get picked up by a big firm. I thought that that's what I needed to do in order to pay off bills, to be successful. You get jobs at a big firm and you work for the government, a governmental agency. But that was not my path, actually. So when I got my bar results, there were no jobs. And although I graduated the top 25% of my class, I was not picked up by anyone. So I met a couple of attorneys through interning at my law school who kind of turned me on to family law. So when I got out, I started, doing contract work for attorneys in family law. And within a year of getting my license, I opened up my own firm. I was probably 28 years old at the time. And I, looking back, wouldn't recommend that you jump into it like I did, though I am glad I did it, because a lot of my colleagues, when you get older and you decide you want to have kids and you can't put in the kind of hours that you want to or have to through working with your agency or firm, many of them end up going into practicing on their own. With my going into practicing on my own right away, whether it was good or bad, has allowed me the flexibility of being able to spend time with my family, dictate my own schedule, hire people that I want to work with, attend events and educational events that I want to go to. And, there's a lot of benefits to running your own business. So just know, like growing up for me, when, in my family, my Hawaiian family, they were business owners. I mean, they owned grocery, like mini marts and laundromats, things like that. My family has always been used to that kind of work background. Like my mom would work in the store as a kid and things like that. I did not do that, though I did go into some of the stores and businesses that my grandparents owned. But like, I'm talking about small businesses. I'm not talking about big businesses. I'm talking about like your mom and pop grocery store, bodega. And so having that experience, my mom had a job. She was 9 to 5, worked her butt off every day, and then she retired. I didn't want that experience. I want to dictate my hours. I want to dictate how much I earn. I want to cut and determine the cut of all the business that's brought into my office. So that is one of the benefits. Again, I'm not a solo. I have other attorneys that I've worked with, and I have an associate now. So I have a small firm. The combination of my diverse background and experience in terms of contributing to my practice, as I stated, helped me to already kind of have an idea that it's not the end of the world to not get a job right away. It is going to be scary starting your own business, but you can do it. And I'm really glad I did. I as I said, I was doing all kinds of things when I started, just because you kind of take whatever comes in the door. And it helped me to figure out like what I liked. And so for a long time, I did a bunch of things. I did immigration, bankruptcy, and also family law and some civil things here and there. The benefit to doing that helps me with family law, because family law is kind of like you need to know a little bit of everything in order to be good at your job. And I really like the nuances of the law, to going to the education and doing all those things. So I really appreciated family law, and now that's all I do. Law school, even if you don't become an attorney, teaches you how to critically think about things. Okay. And when I say that, I mean that most of the family members that you know, that you have, like in my family, they don't understand documents like you do, or you will. You can help your family with a lot of things just by the sheer fact that you go to law school, because you're going to have the ability to think critically more than other people, which is woefully lacking, in my opinion, in our educational system. So for that reason alone, even if you never pass the bar exam, going to law school is going to be helpful to you. I know a lot of people that have gone to law school that have decided they don't want to be practicing attorneys, and they go on to be executives, advisors. They work in all kinds of different industries, and that legal background really assists you in being able to think and to make decisions, better decisions, or educated decisions even, about how to manage anything. In terms of the actual bar exam, should you decide that you want to become a practicing attorney, I know that it's going to be hard, but that if you decide that you want to practice, and you want to practice in California, that you should not quit, and you should not let the bar exam dictate to you what kind of person you are. I know that it sometimes is earth-shattering for a lot of people when they don't pass the first time. I was lucky enough to pass the first time, so I didn't have to deal with some of the experiences that my colleagues have had to, but it can really mess with your mind. But at the end of it, once you pass, I hope that you look back and realize that you are a strong person mentally to be able to put up with going through that exam. I think that's it. Thank you.